All right. Hey, everybody. It's me, Ken McKinney, your producer for ExtremeSpeedwayAction.com and XSRA.tv. Welcome to the first XSRA.tv Facebook Live interview. I'll be talking with Steve Evans, the promoter of Steve Evans Speedway Promotions, about the North American Final coming up this Saturday at Paris Speedway. And we'll also hear from our new U.S. national champion, Max Rummel. And we'll hear from him a little bit about what he's been doing and what we can expect. We'll talk with Steve about what we can expect for this Saturday and everything. So without any further ado, let me welcome Steve Evans to the broadcast. And there we are. Steve, hi, how are you?
Doing great. Yeah, very excited about what's coming up.
Very good. Thank you for joining us here. Never mind my background. It's a little bit clutter. That's just a photo, folks. That's a photo. Steve has got a very simplistic background. Steve, welcome to this show. We're going to have Max on soon. Tell us about what's going on this weekend for the North American Final coming up at Paris Speedway.
Well, it's the biggest event in American Speedway. Simply put, there's plenty of other good events and plenty of other good championships, but there's not another event that qualifies riders to go on and compete to qualify for the Grand Prix Series, which is the ultimate prize in Speedway. So we're going to be taking 16 riders, and at the end of 20 races, we'll have 3 of them who are going to be racing, I believe it's Glasgow, Scotland, in the spring next year to chance their chance to qualify for the Grand Prix Series.
Right. Is it always held in Glasgow?
No, they alternate the venues. What happens is there's a total of 64 riders from various countries get qualified for the round. So there's going to be 4 rounds. There's going to be 4 rounds that the riders can go to, one of 4 events, and then the top 4 from each go through to the Grand Prix Challenge, and then the top 3 from the Challenge go into the Grand Prix Series. So even when you get out of the AMA FIM North American Final on Saturday, you're still one of 64 riders worldwide competing for 3 spots in the 2023 Grand Prix Series. So it's hard work Saturday, but it's going to be much harder work moving forward. But, you know, we live in hope we can have a Grand Prix rider within the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, as we're growing the field, we've had a lot of really talented riders coming in and out. But that was very good, a good showing for us. I mean, I know Max was there and he had a few equipment issues, but we were still dealing with the pandemic, closures, a lot of the different restrictions that were in place for traveling and such. So that kind of made it hard on him, don't you think?
For sure. I mean, a meeting at this level is brutal. That's the bottom line. I mean, Saturday's meeting is going to be brutal, and the further rounds that go on beyond that are equally brutal. So, it's to compete at the highest level in World Speedway is very hard work. The guys that we have in Europe now are working really hard to be successful. That's just how it is.
Yeah, they're playing no games over there. That is the big leagues. And we've been doing a lot over here in the United States, you specifically during the pandemic. So I want to tip my hat to you for keeping Speedway going. And we're hoping that we will have a lot more tracks open up for 22. But speaking about the North American Final coming up, give us a little bit of a rider lineup that people will be able to see when they go to the track or even when they watch the stream online.
Sure. Well, first off, we have 14 of the 16 riders decided, and there's in the 4 o'clock early show, there's going to be 8 or 9 riders competing for the last 2 spots. They're going to run heats, last chance, and a main event to qualify 2 riders to go onto the program and 3 riders to be reserves on the night. So already in, this is just in draw order, no preference, but we have 250 national champion Alex Martin, Luke Becker, Gino Manzares, Aaron Fox, Max Rummel, Russell Green, Eddie Castro, Slater Lightcap, under 21 national champ. Dylan Rummel, fabulous Chris Kerr, Austin Navratil, the fast rising Retton Todd, Brock Nickel, and Blake Borello. And just to correct myself, I said they were going to Glasgow. That's actually not correct. Two riders will go to Zarnovica in Slovakia, and one rider will go to Abensburg in Germany. So that's where they're going for their qualifiers. And then I believe if they place top 4 in those meetings, then they get to go to Glasgow, because the Grand Prix Challenge is in Glasgow, which is takes the top 16 of the 64 riders to race for the 3 spots in next year's GP series. So I would like a minimum of 2 of our guys to make it through to the challenge, because we haven't had a rider get through the round and get into the challenge for quite a while. I think the last one was Billy Gennaro, or maybe Ricky Wells did it once, but it's been quite a few years since we've got past the next stage.
Well, that's a good rider lineup, and I understand about the Glasgow write-off over there. But to go to Slovakia and then be in Germany, what is that? Is that a progression for like a bracketed race series?
Yeah, there's just different federations. What happens is every September, we have to submit how many spots we want in particular international events to the FIM. So we asked for 3 spots, which is 1 more than we've usually got for next year. They gave us 3 spots. So out of the 64 spots, USA has 3 of them in the qualifiers. And then, each event has 16 riders. So 64 divided by 16 puts you in one of 4 different events. So...
Okay, well, that's interesting, and we're learning more about that because we haven't been in the series in a long time, so a lot of people are basically learning it all over again. We're waiting for Max Rummel to come in and join our stream. Let's see if he's there. He's not there yet. Max, we need you. But we want to talk to him about being the newest national champion after Billy Gennaro had his stranglehold on that forever. He was the top rider. So I know that Max watched him and raced behind him for years, and now he's finally able to have that #1 plate. What do you think about that, Steve?
Well, it's utterly deserved. He's worked very hard at this. He's been the standout rider on the domestic scene for 2022, wherever he's gone. Gino has definitely risen rapidly this year, and it's good because, you want to have more than one contender on the domestic scene. So I'd probably rank Max and Gino as the top 2 home-based riders, but there's still plenty of depth and talent besides from those guys. And I always look down the program, like sometimes when I have an event and, you might not have a lot of stars signed up. It's an opportunity. There's some, guys like Slater Lightcap, Michael Wells. Michael Wells is he's going to be in the qualifiers. Michael Wells is a great rider and a great guy and can really race and pass people. But sometimes, you have to look through all 4 riders in a race to really appreciate, our talent and riders and who we have. So I always make the best of what I have with the program and try and make it entertaining for everybody.
Yeah, Michael Wells, he's one of those top riders, and he's just riding over the top sometimes. He's had a couple injuries on the track, so I think he got his bell rung the last time we were out there at Paris, and he had to pull out. But he just needs to stop growing. That guy's 6'3". He's Brad Oxley tall. That's kind of you're racing against a guy like Luke, who's 5'6". And, there's a weight distribution issue right there, isn't there?
Yeah, there have been successful tall riders. He's going to go as far as he can go in Speedway. So the thing is, not to get off subject, but American Speedway has lost a lot of talent kind of in the middle pack of Division 1 because these riders seem to come and go a bit, and we want to obviously keep them around more.
Yeah, well, you want to keep them around more. but you know, people do age out of this. This sport, though, for a lot of the riders, we still have, before the pandemic, we still had, you know, Bobby Boogaloo Schwartz and Sean McConnell out there riding against the young guys. And when I would speak to them, I'd ask them, so are you going to be easy on these kids, or are you going to give them their money's worth? And they say, no, these kids have to earn it. They got to pass me. And I think that's really good, having the veterans out there making these young riders earn it. What do you think?
You know, it's great. There's no age limit or age discrimination in American Speedway. So guys like Bobby, Sean, and of course Eddie Castro, who is racing Saturday. You know,
yeah, I forgot to mention the fast one. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You know, these guys, you know, certainly should get credit. They're great guys and great riders and great ambassadors for American Speedway. You know, we don't really see Sean and Bobby at our events much, probably because they're more suited to places like Costa Mesa or industry that are more the short tracks. And I think the older riders, except for Eddie, tend to really thrive and specialize on Costa Mesa and industry. So, you know,
right.
all the more reason to want those places to open up next year, because I miss seeing those guys racing. I mean, you know.
Oh, everybody does.
They're great.
I really miss it. I have my home track over there at Costa Mesa. You know, every Saturday, that was my summer for the last 10 years with Mark Williams. And we're, you know, putting together edits so people would have a proof of life and see that the sport is still active. And we need new riders. And of course, the fan base, it comes and goes, you know, as you know. But you know, since the pandemic, being able to go to Paris was our only alternative in 20. And thank you very much for all the work and hard effort you put into helping us continue to see Speedway as the sport it is. And then you opened up this new track last year in Kern. Tell us a little bit about Kern County.
Well, it was on our radar really for over 2 years. My crew were hired to run a hooligan race there a couple of years back, and we thought it was a great potential facility, but you know, this place has a lot of events on it. So during the shutdowns last year, a lot of their regular events had to be canceled. So it gave us time to go in and present Speedway as a new form of racing. And you know, the track management, the track staff, and the track owners absolutely love what we're doing, and they see massive potential. We haven't reached the potential yet. We're still working it out, to be honest. We get some races. Our rider attendance has been fantastic, but the crowd, we've had good nights and average nights, and we need to get more good nights. But it's really our job as promoters to find and create and rediscover the fan base.
Yeah, and the rediscovering the fan base, I hope that with the videos and the different shows that we're able to put on, it really brings in the youth to see what a fantastic sport this is. And it's really good for people with what is that? ADHD, people who can't pay attention to a 100-lap race, but you sure can pay attention to a 4-lap race, right? I mean, a low attention span people, right?
Exactly, yeah. And of course, we have something very big in the works for Bakersfield on February 19th. It's kind of still in the working stages. It's going to take a substantial amount of money to pull it off. We've raised a chunk of that money. There's more to go, but you know, think of you know, your 5 favorite Speedway riders in the world, and I guarantee if we pull this event off, one of them will be there.
Fantastic. Well, hey, let's take a look at something that I posted online a little while back. Show people a little bit about what Kern County Raceway track looks like. Okay, this is the last thing I posted. Max is the dominant here. Let's take a look.
And then we're going to have our first sidecar heat just right off the bat. And then we will take a little break while our flat trackers do some hot laps, do some practice, get the track ready, and then we're going to start our second half of our show, our big flat track extravaganza.
you have 8 plus 12, so now you have racing.
Well, there you had it. That was a really good race. That was for your opener out there at KCRP. You had a really good turnout, and I think people are starting to understand that Speedway is returning to Bakersfield, especially since you did the big team riding event out there earlier in the year as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's still work to do. We're partnered with some very, very good people. It always takes a team. Even when people say Steve Evans Promotions, it's never me. It's a whole crew. It's a whole team. So everyone involved probably doesn't get enough credit, but I'll give it them right now.
Yeah, and the riders as well. I think the riders are totally enjoying that new track out there. It's got banked corners. I mean, really, you put a lot of effort into that track, you and Larry out there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have very high standards, and you have to. The better racetrack you have, and the better racing, and the more riders that support it, the more you have a show to sell. If no one comes out, then you have nothing to sell to the fans.
Right. Well, speaking of selling to the fans, we want to make sure that everybody is able to get out there to the event out at Paris Speedway out there in Paris, California. But if they can't, they can see it on XSRA.tv right here. Where is that?
It's great that fans, obviously, if you're local to the track, we really say come out to the race and see it in person. But it's fabulous that XSRAtv basically brings it to the rest of America and the rest of the world. And this is normally our best attended event, both spectator-wise and stream-wise of the year at Paris. And so it should be, because, there's no other race that links us to the world of Speedway than this.
Right. And the world of Speedway is exactly what we're trying to accomplish with XSRA.tv, is have the world watch what we're doing in Speedway. I believe, television is a great motivator, but I believe some of those promoters over there overseas are able to see our riders, and it promotes more interest in maybe acquiring them. Somebody like Dylan Rummels, probably a prime example of people being able to see him race and wanting to bring him overseas. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we are a bit of a Speedway outpost over here, that's for sure. So, and I think it's very important that American Speedway has to partake with World Speedway. We have to embrace the world scene. And yes, I really think the more success we have on the world scene, the more it's going to attract riders to domestic Speedway. Obviously, you've got to have riders that stay and race in America. We can't lose everyone overseas, but quite simply, there aren't enough available jobs overseas to lose everybody. And if you go, you have to be exceptional. You have to be exceptional to go. So you can't just go and be, if you're not winning main events in America, you're not ready to go. That's the bottom line.
Really, that's true. And we were able to see we were able to see Brock Nickel and Luke Becker over there tearing it up in England and in Poland. Those guys did phenomenal, and I'll do something to get them on these streams and talk to them later. But it's essentially about the North American Final, and they will be there at this North American Final, right?
Yeah, I mean, Luke's already raced one time for us at Bakersfield since he returned. I mean, Luke and Brock and Dylan, they just want to race Speedway, to be fair. They just want to ride and support the domestic scene when they're back in the country. That's great. They certainly don't have to, because racing in Europe is a different level, and sometimes after a long season you really need some time off the bike. Of course, this Saturday they really have to race. They don't really have a choice if they want to go onto the qualifiers next year, which of course they'll
Right.
do. But I mean, we can probably expect to get a few more rides out of each of them before they head back in the early spring for their next season, which will come around faster than we know.
Right, and we also have I have Max trying to join the stream right here. He's having a little bit of a technical difficulty. Hopefully he'll be able to jump in. But in the poster I have here, we have Gino, the Hitman Manzares, right there in the front of the poster. He's been the king of the ring out there at Paris. You know, he's most winningest rider out there. He's going to be bringing it. What do you think about Gino?
Gino's got massive desire. He's had 2 stints in Europe over 3 different seasons so far, and he does have the ambition to do more. I mean, he still harbors big Speedway dreams outside of America, and as much as we always miss this riders, we have to respect ambition and let guys compete to be world champion.
Right. And he was telling me about some of the difficulties about traveling and working overseas like that. And you know, when you leave home and you go on a world stage such as that, you know, when you're traveling from track to track to track and it's cold, especially if you're from California where it's always warm. But you're just wait a minute, Max but you're just basically getting homesick. I think that might have happened to Dylan Rummel. He was just totally used to being in California, and then when he gets there, it's just so foreign to him. It took him some time to get his groove, so to speak, you know, the blue groove, but it took him some time to get into being somewhere different. What do you think about that? It's a very mental thing for these young guys to be away from home and away from their friends and such. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm sure it varies rider by rider, and a lot of it depends on where you're based and what team you're riding for and how connected you are to other people. The standard in Europe, particularly getting out of the starts, is just everything. So until you learn to trap, you're really going to have a hard time scoring points in Europe. Dylan had a bit of a runway and a bit of a learning curve, but then really kind of made a major leap at the end of the year, which was fantastic. But, you know, it sounds great going to Europe to race Speedway, but it's far from glorious. A lot of the time it can be very lonely. And a lot of the time it's just a lot of travel and driving. And sometimes you might drive 5 hours only to get the meeting rained out after the first heat, which you weren't in. So
Right. Hey, listen, Max, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear Max. There's
Yay,
Max.
Max.
He's at work right now. Believe it or not, these guys have other jobs other than racing. Max, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing mighty fine. Just spent the last week out here in San Diego, just working out here all week. So been kind of laid back job too, so not too stressful. We're just going cruise control until Saturday.
All right. Well, fantastic. Well, I want to tell you congratulations on your 2021 U.S. National Championship. I know it's a long time coming. You've been following Billy Gennaro for years. You finally took the plate away from him. How does that feel?
Oh, it's cool. I'm really enjoying it. Confidence is through the roof. It's just unreal. You know, it's something that I've wanted to do since I was a little kid, and I got to do it now. And you know, it's an accomplishment that'll stay with me forever. So super blessed, and yeah, just excited to see what comes of that now. You know, I mean, like I said, the confidence is through the roof. So
Very
I'm
good.
hoping that carries over into the next ones.
Very good. And we spoke about that. That number one puts a big target on your back. You're going to be defending that plate this Saturday out there in Paris. Are you ready?
Yeah, you know, I mean, last time we were out here, we had a good night of racing as well. So, you know, I'm just looking forward to it. I always have a good time going to Paris. It's a track that I've raced on since I was a little kid, so
Right.
I know the ins and outs of the place, and I have the confidence to know that if I need to, I can go out there and I can score a perfect score. I've done it before, so
Yep.
if I can go out there and do it again this weekend, that'd be awesome. Just going out there to win, though, is kind of the biggest goal. And yeah, so we'll see what comes to Saturday and go from there.
Good. Your brother is back. He's going to come out. How's he feeling? Well, I'll get to talk to him at some other time, but how's he feeling about this?
Oh, he's loving it. He's ready. He's had the bike ready since last weekend. You know, I mean, he's on another level of confidence as well, especially from coming back from England. You're just a different mentality especially when it comes to these races. You know, you can go out and I'm hoping that the track is how, if it's anything like it was last year, it'll be pretty competitive and it'll be a fun night of racing. You know, this is the kind of night where it separates kind of the men from the boys. So
yes,
you know, everybody's got to really bring their A game and see what happens, because and the format that we have to race as well. I mean, 5 heats, race everybody once, and then that's that. It's probably one of the toughest formats you could race in American Speedway. So it's a tough one. You have to be on your game every single race. So I'm sure he'll do well though, and I'm sure he'll progress through the night. But I'm sure his ultimate goal is to win it as well. So we'll see.
Well, that number.
See what happens.
He's after that number on your back. You know that. You guys have been competitive together for many years, watching you out at Costa Mesa, and it's just is that brother rivalry going on? You know, he's only a couple of years younger than you, but he always wants to try to pass you.
Oh, I mean, obviously, you know, you do anything with your little brother, you want to beat him, and I'm sure he's the same way with me. There's no give at all.
No.
You know, we have I think a lot of people trip out though, because it's a different relationship when we get off the track. Like, you know, we can look like we absolutely hate each other on the track, but when it comes down to it, when we come off the track, it's unreal. The kid's my best friend. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's
so at the end of the day, I'm sure he'll come out swinging, and we'll see what he has to offer on Saturday. That's about it.
That's it. You lay it out on the track, huh, boy? But you guys can talk. You can talk trash to each other during the week, but then when it comes to getting on the track, there's where the real men show up, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, like I said, it's a big night as well. It's a race that sent me to Scotland this year. So if you know, if anybody wants to do it, I'm sure it'd be Dylan as well, because he's you know, he wants to go back next year. He wants to race in England, and he wants to do that. Me, I'm kind of racing for a champion, for just a spot to qualify. You know, I don't really have a big desire to go back to England next year unless something big comes up. But at the end of the day, I think we're focused on being here and racing for another national championship, and you know, me furthering my career out here at work and just trying to move forward. So at the end of the day, I think we're all excited for this Saturday to come, and you know,
very good. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I know you're out at work right now. The rain hasn't hit you out there. You're in San Diego. The rain hasn't hit you yet, right?
No, it's been like little rain this morning, but we haven't had much. We're in a big old rig as well, so we're pretty covered. As long as we don't run into any big problems, like I said, we're pretty much on cruise control out here. But
all right,
it's sprinkling a little bit. It's coming down, but I hope this rain helps the track a little bit, because if we get a little moisture in that track, it'd be awesome.
That's right. All right. Well, hey, thank you for joining us. We'll let you get off back to work, and I'll see you Saturday.
See you Saturday, Max.
Thank you, Max. All right. Well, that was great to hear from him.
He's ready.
And yeah, he's ready. And I know I'd like to get Gino on the line at some time and talk to him, because I know he's been the track master out there all year. But there's some heavy forces out there. I mean, you know, we've got these new young riders. You've got Slater Lightcap and Alex Martin. They're really adding a new mix to this 500cc class, aren't they?
Yeah, they're very impressive. Actually, they've really hit the ground running straight away on the 500s. They've got, I think Slater's got about 3 meetings in. Alex has maybe got 5, and here they are, qualified for the North American Final. We took every event this year at Paris and KCRP and added up everyone's points and averaged them out to determine who qualified. That way, there's no kind of argument about the riders deserving their spot.
Yeah, definitely. I've been watching those kids ride on those in the minis and then on the 250s. Geez, that Alex Martin, he looks really good. But that Slater Lightcap getting that under 21. And I apologize, folks, I haven't gotten any video out. My computer took a dump on me, and I'm using an old MacBook Pro to do this. But I've been bummed out. I haven't been able to get that footage to you, but I will after this national championship, this North American Final, get some stuff out to you for the North American Final so you can see it. But it's best to watch it live on XSRA.tv. Steve, also tell us a little bit about the toy drive you guys are going to be having out there at Paris this Saturday.
It's become a tradition because we've been doing Christmas time races for much longer than we've been doing the American Final. So we always invite fans to bring a toy, which we donate to a local Toys for Tots charity. Just bring an unwrapped toy. You know, any value, doesn't have to be, you know, $50, just something, you know, a $10 toy is lovely. It's going to make a kid happy on Christmas morning. And we also invite riders to decorate their pits and, you know, just make it a bit of a festive thing. It's a special time of the year for us. You know, Christmas is a great time for me with my family, but I like to kind of bring it to the Speed family as well. So we've got this Saturday at Paris, and then the following Saturday is going to be probably even more Christmassy.
Oh yes, the following Saturday will be the Moto Festival. Yeah, the Moto Festival out there on the 18th. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we just it's an event where we're going to run Speedway earlier. So those people that I know, some fans have had trouble to get to Bakersfield because they don't want to be driving home at 2 in the morning. So the Speedway show is going to be at 2 o'clock.
What's the matter with driving home at 2 in the morning?
Not everybody's got our endurance, Ken. What can I say? There's you know, it's Speedway, it's flat track. We just want to create, the whole purpose of this race is to create a fun event, racing with an event to back it up for Speedway fans, for flat track fans, and for just the local Bakersfield community that are looking for somewhere to take their kids. So,
yeah.
And Santa will be there. And Santa will be there on the track.
Will that be Chris dressed up as Chris or Danny?
Neither. Santa will be on the track competing.
Oh, Santa will be competing. Well, that'll be good. Yep. You got to get out there to, if you're interested to see that, you got to get out there to Bakersfield. And we'll not be streaming it this year, maybe next year. But I'm growing the stream. It's been an exercise in development, to say the least. And I appreciate your allowing me to do it, and for it, because it brings everybody to the track if they can't get there, and it shows the world that we are actually racing Speedway in America, and we are going to return as a team, and we're going to get another national champion, right? Another world champion.
Well, that's the game plan. I mean, it's so hard these days, and you take a country like Poland and see their setups and see their quantity of riders and see the amount of money. In a recent Speedway Star magazine, Bartosz Marzlik, 2019 and 2020 world champion, makes about $750,000 a year racing in about 16 events in Poland. And
right,
that's just his salary from the team. That doesn't include his endorsements, his sponsors. And it doesn't include racing the Grand Prix, and it doesn't include racing in the Swedish League where he makes more. So, obviously with Speedway, you reinvest into your equipment, but if his sponsors kind of back up what he makes from the team, he's doing well, and so he should do. I mean, Speedway riders, you can only pay riders the revenue that you have as a promoter, but it's good to see somewhere where Speedway riders can come and make a living and have money to live on after their time is done.
Yeah, that's a big deal because they are pros. It's a big professional thing. Motocross earns a heck of a lot more. Even flat track earns a heck of a lot more. This is the granddaddy of flat track, especially, Speedway and flat track go hand in hand. But let's see what we can do in the next few years to see if we get a new world champion. I always say that there's some kid out in Nebraska that's a world champion and doesn't even know it yet.
Yeah, exactly. So if he happens to chance upon the stream on Saturday and then come out to California for some Speedway lessons, then who knows?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, there's flat track riders. There's a lot of motocross riders. They just can't pull off those triples. And I mean, the air is just not for everybody. But if they want to go fast, they could do circles in a track. They could really show off some talent and get a #1 plate. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Speedway needs to grow. Speedway needs more junior riders for sure. That's where we're certainly, struggling a bit right now, particularly in the 150 class. But hopefully when we get more venues open next year, it'll create a stream of interest and new riders. Obviously, if we get industry open and Kelly does the gumball, then that's a place to showcase the youth. And I think that only helps to get more riders. So we fully, it's been a privilege to hold the fort for American Speedway, but we've never considered this like a takeover. We've considered to be, keeping it going until our fellow tracks can get back to their regular business. And, if we all coordinate and we're all respectful, then there's room for all of us to flourish and succeed.
That's the hope. Let's bring it back, bring it to fruition, that all of this can happen together,
Sure.
and create a real good camaraderie between tracks. So it's the only way to get more spectators back in the sport. Listen, I want to thank you so much, Steve, for joining us here. Everybody, if you're watching this and you like it, give us some thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel that I have for highlights of race streams and such, so you'll never miss any of the action. But nothing beats going to the track, hearing the racers, hearing the motorcycles, smelling the track, all of it. Right, Steve? I mean, nothing beats going to the track. That's what I like doing. Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of sports out there. There's plenty of good sports out there. There's plenty of sports that I like to watch, but they're not Speedway. There isn't.
Yeah, they're not Speedway. That's right.
There's not a single sporting spectacle in this world that competes with Speedway, in my opinion.
It's fantastic sport, and I appreciate being able to be around it and bringing people, more people, the knowledge of this event happening. So everybody, don't forget the Speedway North American Final is happening this Saturday out at Paris Speedway. And if you can't make it, bring the track to you on XSRA.tv, the best stream. You can watch it on your phone. You can watch it on your tablet. You can watch it on stream it over to your TV. It's a great stream backed by Speed Sports Television, and we're trying to do the best we can. 2022 is going to be a breakout year for all of us as the tracks open up. And as Steve says, we need some camaraderie between everybody so we can get something going on. I'll be bringing on some other people. Aaron Fox, I know he wants to talk about stuff like this. Gino Manzares has got some great plans coming for 22. And, of course, Steve Evans is going to be hosting a whole schedule of things. You can see more about that on parisspeedway.com. And geez, this is my first one. I sure hope people like it. We'll be coming back at another time. I don't know when, but possibly in once a month. I don't know. Steve, you up to doing these a few times a month? maybe?
Yeah, we can do them. We could do them as much as people want them. I mean, it'd be good to bring on guest riders, and there's plenty to talk about. I know we said we might touch upon it today, but time's running short. But definitely, Speedway of Nations and Team USA.
Yes.
There's a lot to say about that. So we'll
We'll come
save
back
that
for the Speedway of Nations on
we'll
another
save that
show.
for a later broadcast. But we got some exciting stuff going on with that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Steve Evans, for joining me here on XSRA.tv's Facebook live stream, the first one we've ever held. I will do better to have my background as nice and clean as Steve in the future. But that's all for us right now. I'm Ken McKinney, your producer for XSRA.tv and XS Extreme Speedway Action. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you at the track.
See you Saturday.